I don't know where I heard this one, maybe over the internet. It's one of my favorites, though. But if you heard this, now you be sure and stop me, okay? I have a friend named Henry. Henry's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he got a lot of heart. And somebody put up a gun store right down the street from where he lived, and he decided he'd go check it out. He went, he was looking at all these rifles and pistols and all these weapons, and he says, man, I want to get me a rifle. I'm going to be a big man with a rifle. So he buys himself this nice little rifle. And he asks the guy, he says, what do you do with these things? I said, well, they're primarily used for hunting. He says, well, I'm going to go hunting. What's a good thing to hunt? The guy says, well, a lot of people hunt squirrel. That's not much. Some people hunt deer, a little bit more to that. But if you really want an adventure, you got to go after bear. Well, Henry says, hey, man, I'm going to go after some bear. So he gets in his car and he drives out into the woods, and he sets himself up in a little place in the woods where he's right behind a tree, and he's looking at this hill in the distance. And he's watching this hill, and sure enough, it isn't too long before this big old bear comes lumbering across the hill. Old Henry, man, he takes a bead on this thing. Pow! The bear jumps up, falls over, and rolls back down over the hill. Henry goes, yeah! And he's going to walk over and pick up his prize. He walks over the hill, looks around, no bear. And he scratches his head, and all of a sudden he gets his tap, tap, tap on his shoulder. He looks around, there's this big, mean bear. And the big, mean bear says, you know something? I'm getting sick and tired of you hunters coming up here and taking pot shots at me. I'm going to teach you a lesson. And Henry, boy, he's pretty scared. Bear says, I want you to get down on your knees and give me a little bit of oral service. And he says, well, I'm not going to do that. That's disgusting. Bear says, well, you're going to do it right now, or I'm going to beat you to within an inch of your life and let you lie here and die a slow, painful death. And oh, jeez, Henry's scared to death. And then, all right. And he gets down on his knees and he gives the bear the old oral service. The bear walks off. Henry goes back to his car, and he's spitting out the window as he's driving home. And he's getting madder and madder and madder. And he's going by the gun shop on his way home. He says, I can't take this anymore. I just can't be humiliated like this. He walks into the gun store and he tells the gun shop owner, this rifle didn't do the trick. I need something bigger. The guy says, what do you want? I don't know. How about a shotgun? Okay. Another sale. That's fine with him. He says, here's a shotgun. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. So Henry buys a shotgun, picks him up a bunch of ammo, gets back in his car. He's going to teach that bear a lesson. He goes right back out to where he was in the woods, and he settles down behind the same tree, and he waits. Sure enough, here comes a bear walking across the same ridge. Bears are pretty much like that. They follow paths. And old Henry, he takes himself a bead with a shotgun, and kablooey! And the bear grunts up, does a flip in the air, and goes falling down over the hill. Henry goes, yeah! And he walks on over and looks over the hill. No bear anywhere in sight. All of a sudden, tap, 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 tap. Henry looks around. There's the bear again. This time the bear's really mean. Bear looks at him and says, you again. You didn't get your lesson. You didn't learn your lesson, huh? Well, you know the routine, buddy. You know the routine. Henry says, oh, no, not again. He says, right now, buddy. Henry gets down on his knees, and he goes through the same ritual again. Bear walks off. Henry's driving home, and this time he is absolutely furious that some dumb animal was getting the best of him. And he's spitting out the window and getting madder and madder and madder, and he goes by the gun shop, and he walks into the gun shop, and he tells the owner, look, man, this thing did not work. I need something that's going to kill a bear. What's the biggest thing you got? Gun shop owner said, well, got an elephant gun over here. You want to try that? And he says, yeah, give me the elephant gun. He gets his elephant gun, and he picks up some ammunition. He gets back in his car, and he drives back into the woods. He's going to teach that bear a lesson. He goes behind the same tree, and he's sitting there watching that ridge. Sure enough, not 5 minutes later, here comes that same bear walking across that ridge. Henry gets up. He aims that elephant gun. He's got it right on the bear's chest, and kablooey! And the bear does a triple flip in the air and falls over the ridge. Henry says, yeah! And he goes over and he walks across. He looks around. No bear. All of a sudden, tap, tap, tap. Henry goes, oh no. He turns around. There's the bear standing behind him. The bear looks at him and says, you again! You're not really into this for the hunting, are you?